Are we live on the platforms? Yes.
Yeah, Twitter's acting weird.
Yeah, I see we're live on Twitter.
Able to share from there.
It's just doing it differently. Okay. Yeah. So we're live and stuff. How is everybody? Everybody okay?
How are you?
I'm drunk from the victory, Democratic victory last night. So.
Oh, in Texas, you all had some
Yeah.
political, good political news out of Texas. Weird. Haven't heard that since Ann Richards won in '76 or something.
Gosh, 1995.
Is that when she won?
1995. Yeah.
I get that those years were blurry from the 70s to the 90s. Anyway, so I want to talk about our existing lawsuits, the onboarding that we're doing for the lawsuits we're working on, the onboarding we're doing for the ones we're offering, and then I want to answer questions. So if anybody has questions, Rabia, where do they put them?
On Instagram, depending on where they're following us, right? On Facebook, commenting under the live, on YouTube, commenting under the live, on Instagram, commenting. I don't know how it works on Telegram.
Yeah, on Telegram, I don't know how it works either. And I have no idea. Sometimes someone's in the back room puts up the comment though. Okay.
Yeah.
So first thing, let's talk about challenges to USCIS policy memo 602-0192 and 602-0194, the holds for those 40 travel ban countries.
Yes.
As some of you all know, I'm tracking this kind of closely, okay? There have been these 12 lawsuits plus a couple more that I haven't put on the chart because I haven't got the information yet, including cases Jennifer Nimmer has pending. If you're watching, Jennifer, I know that you have pending cases. And the case that Rabia brought to my attention has a PI, Doe versus Savletta Doe. In Massachusetts, it's a different Doe than Jim Hacking's Doe, but it's the same court, and they have a PI pending too, but it's just for parolees, the parolee class, I guess. So 2 victories so far, both in cases that were not group cases. Individual case here that was filed, motion for PI was filed January 3rd, and PI here, motion for PI that was filed February 6th, I think. Got it really fast. Yesterday, I did a hearing in number 5, Baden in San Jose, and it went well. Same judge as number 1. There's a possibility she might do something a little different than what she did in 1, because in 1, it was 485s and 765s. In this case, it's just 765s. Also, there's an issue that came up in the oral arguments that the government would not let go of. And that is for the people that had just filed their benefit request the day before we filed the lawsuit, or like weeks before we filed the lawsuit, they would gain a really unfair advantage if the court ordered that their decisions would then take place in 30 days. I argued, of course, that they deserve this advantage and it's the government's problem. They caused the problem. But since they wouldn't let go of it, I did say, well, Your Honor, if you want to entertain this, one solution would be to bifurcate relief and join the hold as it applies to all plaintiffs. But as far as like the supplemental requirements on when stuff gets done, you could do it a little different depending on where the plaintiffs are situated, how long their delays are, for example. And so the judge asked me to take the government's chart and make it a bigger chart with more information. And one of our paralegals is working on that. And then I'm supposed to give it to the government to make sure that they don't have any disputes about it. And then I will file that with the court by Friday afternoon. So that's what's going on in Baden. So we're hopeful for an order next week, because a lot of those people, that's the case of people that need 32 inside the United States that need work authorization. 30 Iranians, 1 Sudanese, 1 Bangladesh. So also yesterday we filed a group lawsuit in the Eastern District of Michigan, which is the first lawsuit filed in that court, although we're working on another lawsuit for Michigan. So exciting things are happening. I'm done talking about this chart. This chart, I don't understand. When I get more cases, what do? Do I make it a 2-page chart? I can't read it anymore. Okay.
Yeah, probably.
Probably what I do.
We'll have to, yeah.
We'll
expand, or we start tracking our cases only, or we start tracking group cases only, because right now they're group and individual. And
that's one idea. Okay, so guess how many lawsuits we are onboarding right now? Chuck, Rabia, you're the only 2 people that can talk, so I need one of you to guess.
It's hard to guess.
Registration is closed. You're going to sneak in your guess as I do the answer. Registration is closed for the DV lawsuit, for the 75 country lawsuit, for the 765 lawsuits. We're only onboarding right now 2 group lawsuits, and that is refreshing because we had some chaos there when there was a lot of overlap. We're onboarding for the 485 and the N400 group lawsuits. That's the only 2 lawsuits we're onboarding right now.
And 485 onboarding ends this week, right? So everyone who does.
Yeah, I need to say a day. I keep saying this week, and I don't know what day. I think Friday by definition, but I haven't said that day. Okay, so a recap on DV 2026 onboarding. The number of plaintiffs total was 736 selectees from 95 countries, plus their families.
Nice.
So I'm going back to try to find when we because I know Chuck's bet was awful, and I want to make sure he knows he lost. I don't remember. Do you remember what you bet, Rabia?
I think I was only betting on the 75 country pause.
I think you bet on the DV.
I did?
Well, January 12th? I don't know. I'm going through my notes. I'm going to find it. But in the meantime, the top countries are Iran, Russia, Egypt, Ethiopia, Nepal, Jordan, Turkey, Ukraine, Albania, Algeria, Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, and Taiwan. Those were the top countries. Okay, teach me how to say it. What is it?
Azerbaijan.
Azerbaijan. I need to be able to say that word because I have 27 DV selectee clients from there. Azerbaijan. And I can't
probably Trump settled one of his 8 Ps there.
Yeah. Oh, I found it. Okay. Curtis said 300. Garrett said 325. Rabia said 181. Hamdi said 250. Chuck said 6,000. That's 75 countries. Okay. Curtis said 2,000 DVs. Garrett said 150. Rabia said 1,500. Hamdi said 175. and Chuck said 50,000. Okay, so Curtis, wait, no. Garrett said 150. Hamdi said 175. I guess Hamdi wins, but he shouldn't. Rabia, you should win. But anyway, it looks like Hamdi won that. Nobody tell him.
Okay.
I don't know. I had no idea what the number would be. So there we are. I hear that if you missed that lawsuit and you still want to participate in another lawsuit, I hear that Charles Cuck's lawsuit is still onboarding through March 14th, and they already have 75 plaintiffs who have registered. So, and they need some more to move forward. I'm sure they will get them. So I don't want anybody really left behind. So if you don't participate, if you missed our lawsuit, participate in that one. You could sign up for our interest list, but I don't know that we will file another lawsuit because last minute lawsuits, the odds are not as good for them. Okay.
Next update. 75, and maybe if anything, any movement happened in travel ban lawsuits.
Yeah, so the 75 country lawsuits, there are two. One is Clinic in the Southern District of New York. I don't know if there's been developments on that. I haven't checked. The other one is Story versus Trump in DC. And we filed that complaint a week ago. We filed the motion for preliminary injunction yesterday. The judge assignment was yesterday, Judge Amir Ali. The summons was issued. Service is already in the mail on its way. The government's already asked for an extension of their deadline to file a response to the PI motion. The deadline was 7 days in DC for a PI motion. I'd forgotten that or didn't know it or something. So anyway, that wasn't, they said, oh, we need more time, and they're right. They need more time. So we're giving them, I don't know, 7 more days, something like that. What else is going on? So there is a PI motion pending on the 75 country pause. And we are not offering another lawsuit for 75 country pause, but we do have an interest list for that. 75 country pause is related to public charge. Okay.
Thank you. Do we have any updates on any of the travel ban challenges? They're not PI, so they're of course moving a little bit slower, but.
We had a procedural update in one lawsuit in DC. We filed a travel ban challenge on behalf of employment-based applicants to 10949, not 10998. And the government said, hey, that case is related to CM-178. I'm sorry, that case is related to Ariani. And so they filed something with the court to say, look what Curtis did. And so I did a meet and confer after the judge's order and said, okay, we agree. These cases are alike. I understand. So now that case is probably going to get transferred to Judge Chutkan's docket, which has good and bad. The government, I was surprised the government did this because for good, for them, I don't know whether to do good or bad for us or them. The advantage to the government here is Judge Chutkan does not think that Proclamation 10949 is unlawful. But the disadvantage is she does think that 212F is not an issuance ban. She's already issued an order on that in Ray versus Biden. And I was talking to the government attorney. He didn't realize that. I told him that after he had already. Is that the same government attorney? I don't think he realized that when he did the transfer. So now they're stuck. It's like both people are not happy because I want the ban to be found unlawful, but also it's not good for them if they have to go around issuing visas to people because that's what the law says. Right. Okay.
Thank you.
I don't think I can make it more confusing than that. So that's the status of that. So let's jump into questions. There's so many.
Okay, sounds good. So the first question is, we got scheduled for the 1st of April for a DV interview, Europe 15,000 that number, and we're participating in the lawsuit. Do you need our 2NL?
Yes, we know you are participating in the lawsuit. I recognize this guy. Let me see here. This is a decision I have not made. I'm trying to think. Gomez is not here. I wonder if do we have individual folders for each of these plaintiffs? I don't know. I'll need to get back with you on that question. I haven't made that decision yet. For now, hang on
to ask the paralegals in contact with.
Okay, so here's what the back room says. Yes, please upload your 2NL to the Google Drive link. So say that Google Drive link that we gave you before, hopefully you save that, upload to there. Good question, good answer. Thank you.
Yeah. The next question is from Mo. Can a group of 15 people file a 1447B lawsuit even if they don't reside in the same district?
Great question, Mo. And the answer, I've done a little legal research on this. It will not work. The only way 1447B is going to work if you all live in the same district. And so my solution to this is on the N400 group lawsuit that we're onboarding, that we were doing just pre-interview, let's include post-interview too, because all of the arguments the government makes against our N400 case. Chuck, did you work on the N400 case that we filed in DC? I filed the reply. I wasn't sure who worked on the complaint or on the PI.
I think.
Probably Carol.
Okay. All the opposition arguments that the government made was just like, you all even hadn't had interviews yet. If you had interviews, then you would have rights. I'm like, oh, really? So I was thinking on the next N400 group lawsuit, we won't do 1447B, but we're just going to include people with interviews too. And let's see if the government makes that same argument about how wonderful your rights are because you had your interview. So that's our solution. Okay.
Thank you. Do you have any news about the DV lawsuit? It's currently in prep, right?
Yeah, we're currently prepping. And when I say we're prepping, I mean, yes, we've got lawyers working on the complaint, but really the main thing that's happening right now is reconciliation to make sure we know exactly who the plaintiffs are and we have their information and due diligence on them. Some of you all were sending wires and we want to make sure that wire went through.
Thank you.
Okay.
Will this war with the Middle East affect the DV lawsuit, or can you use war as argument in the PI motion?
Great question. Okay, so I'm glad you phrased that the way you did, war in the Middle East. I know everybody's excited about USA, but a reality of USA is always involved in some kind of war somewhere. There's always some kind of war, and we're providing the weapons. And there are winners and losers related to wars in the context of immigration. What I mean is in 2020, both 2021, 2022, there were conflicts in certain places where embassies closed and it put people at a disadvantage. But I think today would be too early to assess who is at a disadvantage, because the embassy that's closed, the embassies that are closed today, and Rabbi, about how many embassies are closed? Do you know?
9 have temporarily suspended services this week, and three have closed entirely.
Right, so 12, something like that. So wow.
No, nine in total. Sorry,
9 total.
Six temporary and 3 completely closed at the moment.
The reason I wouldn't make an assessment yet is because the embassies that are suspending services or are closed now could be completely different by the time it's relevant. The embassies that are closed today is not relevant because you can't be issued a visa today anyway. So let's just monitor that situation and make assessments based upon the time where it's relevant after we get an order. Second question, can you use war argument in PI motion? The answer is no. And the reason I say that is we've tried it and it does not work at all. And it actually backfires. Let me tell you how it backfires. The government's, one of their best arguments that they can make on why judges should not get involved in immigration matters is they say, oh, it's a matter of foreign affairs and national security. We do not want to come to the table saying, Judge, look, it's a matter of foreign affairs and national security. No, these are not words that we bring up. No, when the government brings them up, we're like, you're crazy. We just want visas. So no, we don't bring up war. We don't bring up subjects in our briefing that when applied to law backfire on us. Okay, so we will not be, the war is very unfortunate and awful and shouldn't happen, but no, we will not be making arguments about it.
Thank you.
Also, there's someone asked on that DV lawsuit that whether we want to, sorry about lack of a better word, to segregate Iranian from all other nationalities so that other nationality will not be affected.
Completely insane question.
Yeah.
Okay. Because here's why. This is not about your individual eligibilities for visas. This is about whether or not the government's suspension of the program, their pause, was lawful or unlawful. So you're focused on the DVs as compared with each other. I'm not focused on the DVs. I don't care if you're eligible or not. You just deserve decisions. Here's the thing. We're focused on this, what the State Department is doing wrong. Pretend like this is the criminal trial. You're not the defendant. The people in the handcuffs, that's the government. That's who we're going after. Okay? Let's focus on their crimes. Focus on their actions.
Yeah.
Okay.
100%. Okay. Hey, sorry to jump in here randomly if I'm late. I was wondering if anything at all happened after the 90 days USCIS had for the pause.
Great question.
We didn't talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd skip that part. So I'm glad you brought that up. Yes, something happened, and it wasn't what you would think had happened. They did not release their guidance as they promised. They did not release their list as they promised. In Jim Hacking's lawsuit, the judge demanded an explanation, and they produced a declaration that there's some dispute on whether or not it should be shared, so I just won't share it here. But the declaration talks about all the things that they're doing behind the scenes to make it more difficult to get an immigration benefit. Basically, I mean, like, I predicted nothing good would come in 90 days. Let me just say it this way. Nothing good came. Okay. It did say that something else, I think it said like in April. No. April was 90 days from the January one. No, we don't know when anything's going to come. And when it does come, it's not going to be good. So don't be looking out for that. Okay.
Yeah. What I want to add, though, all these things in the declaration that they are saying that they are now working on, I just found it very interesting that I think we were always told from other agencies when they were sued that that's the role of the National Vetting Center, right? To make sure that all the interagency government vetting is happening centralized, and that there's proper exchange between the different agencies. And the National Vetting Center is one thing, but then last year, the administration, or DHS in particular, also talked about having established another center to centralize vetting in Georgia. So I don't know what the National Vetting Center is supposed to do that. then this new center in Georgia, and now they say they are developing another round of new processes.
Yeah, just layers upon layers
Yeah.
of barriers. So,
All right. With the new guidelines mentioned by the government in Doe v. Trump, do you think that even if the judge lifts the pause, it might still take months or years for USCIS to process those plaintiffs?
new guidelines. I'm skimming this affidavit now. They've implemented and reviewed several changes to screening and vetting practices. Implemented changes. Okay. I don't know if I'd use the word guidelines. Okay, so here's my answer to this question. It might take longer, but you are assuming a judge makes an order that just lifts the pause only. And the two orders that have come out so far, the judge went a little bit further than that. The judge said this has to be done in 30 days in our case in the Northern District of California. The other judge in the other case said it had to be done in, I think, 10 days or something, right? In the case
in Massachusetts, it was 10 days for the work authorization.
So judges don't just come out and issue their orders and go like this or this. They say what they want to happen next. So will the government try to drag their feet? Yes, but I think that the judge is going to hold them accountable. Okay.
Thank you. Is there a reason that you're postponing I-140's applications on the hold lawsuit?
Okay, the initial reason why we did not offer an I-140 lawsuit, I had two reasons. One is the imminent irreparable harm. I didn't see it anywhere. I didn't see where that's not exactly what I wanted to say. Strike that. It wasn't as compelling because I couldn't see where something's going to happen within the next 2 months to someone or the next 3 months. And so we would have a harder time achieving an injunctive relief for 140s. Not impossible, since now we're building case law that says that it's unlawful, the hold. Second thing is demand wasn't that big. When we put up that interest list, there wasn't that many people on the 140s compared with the other 485s and the 765s and the N400s. So those are the reasons why we didn't initially. Now, the reason we haven't offered it yet is because I'm reassessing our approach. Some people have been critical of us for charging money to file lawsuits against this policy. And I understand that I don't want this to be a profit situation where we're just making a bunch of money because the government's doing something bad. So I'm trying to figure out the way we can make this hold go away. We can still get paid, but the hold goes away. And it's not something that we're fighting indefinitely, putting together small groups of people until 2038 or something. So we're just going to reassess, and it could be that we do individual cases after this, or it could be we do one big group case. There's different things, different approaches we could do. Also, let's see what happens. Let's see what all these 10 other judges do, right? Only 2 judges have weighed in. We're still waiting on Judge Colvick, Grimberg, Russell, Ali, O'Hara, Becerra, Browning, and Kelly, and Beam. Let's wait for those judges. See what they have to say. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Felipe says, congratulations on filing the PI for the 75 country lawsuit with Judge Amir Ali's history of fast-tracking cases against arbitrary freezes. Thank you. You want to comment on that?
No, I'm not exactly sure what they're talking about. I know
he has some APA challenges where he ruled fairly quickly.
Yeah, I've seen that. I just didn't know if there was some kind of policy challenge. I don't know if there's like a specific policy challenge that he's done. I want to know what it is. I mean, it would come up when we did our research. I just haven't got around to doing that yet. How many Amir Ali orders I have here? I have Day, DEY, that happened in September, and Schneekeberger that happened in August 9th. That was against state. And neither of those are policy. So I don't know. Next question.
Is Judge Susan Van Coyen willing to accept more lawsuits, more group lawsuits?
Right. So this is not a question I asked her directly, but she actually said during the hearing that she has, when she introduced the case, she said, for the benefit of the government attorney, who's a different government attorney, she said, I have considered all these issues before. The government attorney knew this, of course. And she said, in another case, and then she says, and I've got cases coming up where I will be considering these issues. Those are not my cases. So I don't know if someone else has a case before her that has these issues, or if she's actually talking about our future lawsuits that she knows more are coming. Because she wrote a 43-page order on why I was right. That doesn't happen very often. And so I expect it would not be a surprise to her when more lawsuits come. Right now, we're planning on filing one more lawsuit there for sure. And that's the 765 lawsuit that Chuck is working on right now. When will plaintiffs get a draft of that to review, Mr. Chuck?
Tonight.
Okay, wonderful. But if it's tomorrow, don't get mad at me. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hi, I applied for adjustment of status about 6 months ago for a green card under asylum and from one of the 39 banned countries. Can I join one of those lawsuits?
You don't want to. Wait a second. I don't have a data point I need here. When were you granted asylum? Here's why. Because if they make an asylum decision within 1 year of you being granted asylum, if they make a green card decision within 1 year, the decision is denied. So whether or not you should participate in this pending 485 group lawsuit depends upon whether or not a year has gone by.
Since your asylum approval. Yeah. Okay.
But if a year has gone by, yes, definitely participate.
And just before we move on, if a year has gone by, then you probably want to sign up today or tomorrow, because we don't know when the next I-485 lawsuit will come after that.
Yeah, we're going to take onboarding day on after we take it down for this one. Right.
Yeah. What do you think about impact litigation against DV?
I don't really think about it. I mean, I'm sure that they've got some great attorneys. I'm sure that they're going to try a little bit different approach than what we try. And at the end of the day, the cases could be consolidated before the same judge. We don't know. Have to wait and see. But I don't know what you asked that question as if I know something that I don't know. I have not seen what their planned causes of action are or anything like that.
Thank you. How is a PI separate to a judge deciding a case? If a PI is granted, does it mean the case will also be granted on the merits?
This is a very tricky legal question. Go back to civil procedure class. Let me see here. A lot of times people will file a PI motion not seeking all the relief that they're looking for, just the relief that is most urgent. Like, so it's, example is, I think in the Massachusetts case, I think that they were challenging the delays in the 485 and the 765, but the PI was only on the 765. Sometimes people will do that. So I guess sometimes the PI, what I'm saying is sometimes the PI does not mirror what's in the complaint. If you look at our DV 2020 and 2021 litigation, we decided not to seek PI on some of our causes of action. But it depends on the complaint. It just depends on the complaint. This is like too tricky a question to answer, really. Don't make me answer that.
Okay, then let's move on. Any news on a proposed class action for the 39 country pause?
Yeah, Isabella's gonna kill me. You're talking about, okay, I think when you say proposed class action, you're talking about the one that the nonprofits were talking about filing. And the news from a week ago, Monday, that I received was that they are not moving forward with a proposed class action.
Okay.
So,
thank you.
Yeah.
Next question. What's the link to this website? I believe that was for I-485.
Okay.
I don't know how to add an item. I did not learn.
I'll do that if you want to go to the next.
But the link for the I-485.
Yeah, I'll put it up there if you want to go on the next thing.
The government said they would release guidance for those on the ban. What happened to that guidance? We did just talk about that, and the question is from 30 minutes ago. We are behind, so I just assume that's answered. Do the 39 country USCIS lawsuits challenge the significant negative factor label issued by USCIS in their discretionary process and not just the hold itself?
My lawsuits do not. Our lawsuits, Rediga lawsuits, do not.
Thank you.
This is the website that he was looking for, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
I need to take it off now. Okay.
If you have an I-485 and already had your interview, does that at all increase the likelihood of being a good client prospect for this lawsuit?
Yeah. You could participate in the lawsuit. I'm not assessing people's, like, from a 1 to 10 how eligible you are. Either you're eligible or you're not. If you have a 485 receipt number and you're from one of these 40 countries, you're eligible to participate.
Thank you. Does the assignment of Judge Amir Ali either speed up your goal of May for a PI, or does that impact your 85% PI chance at all? Congrats.
Where did May come from?
You said 3 to 4 months is your estimate on an order on the PI motion.
Okay, so we file a PI motion on March 3rd, and someone's saying 3 months is April, May, June.
Yeah, I think that came from, so when
they thought it was going to be filed in February.
You had said May when you expected the PI motion to be filed on February 20, right after the complaint.
Yeah. I think it's probably more realistic to say June. May is possible, though. But I think June is probably more realistic. Yeah.
Do you stick to your 85%?
Yes.
Okay. Then when will we be hearing on the 75 countries visa pause lawsuit you just did? Is it at all mattering whether we had our interview during the pause? I was a bit surprised by that. That's for I-485 interview. No, it doesn't matter, right? Doesn't matter when it happens. They just process applications. They just
so I'm going to court to challenge the government's policy as being unlawful. I'm not going to court to talk about your case, individual cases.
Thank you. Do the recent Republican losses in the Texas primaries put political pressure on the admin to lift the 75 country freeze, especially as they lose Hispanic voters over these policies?
Hitler-style policy. Oh dear. I
Well,
don't think so.
I just want to say, if you are applying for a benefit, please be careful how you what verbiage you use describing the government in public spaces, because they do look at that. And while I agree with the term, I don't think that it's smart if someone who's expecting a benefit from those people, to talk like that about them. As much as
What Rabbi is saying is the U.S. is going through a very dark time right now where we're having to censor ourselves sometimes.
Yeah. Yes.
It's not forever. Hope not. Okay, let's do another question. The answer is I don't know. I don't think so.
If a PI gets granted, if the granted PI the ban, country still in ban?
What happens after a PI is granted depends upon the words in the order. But there's no scenario where the order removes certain countries. That's not going to happen.
Okay. Do you think the government is sincerely making good faith efforts to really improve vetting and not just to stop immigration by any means? This appears to be the main reason for the USCIS pause. No, there's no good faith at all.
No. This isn't real. They're not doing more vetting. They've already done the vetting. There's no more vetting that they could do. So this is bad faith. It's not good faith.
Yeah. Until when can we join the I-485 lawsuit which you want to file in March?
Today. I don't like getting asked this question, like, when's the last minute I could get on the train before it leaves? If you want to get on the train, get on the train. If you want to risk not getting on the train, see what happens. I'll give an example. A lot of people didn't join our last 765 lawsuit thinking, oh, I'll just join the next one. Well, we're not offering one. So there you go. I hate to be a mean person here, but that's the way life is. If you don't seize an opportunity, it may not be there tomorrow.
Yeah. There's one comment that I'm not able to surface. It's sitting behind two other comments. I see one line, it says based immigration cases, my employment, and the rest is not appearing. I don't know if you see the full comment.
I wanted to ask whether I may be eligible to join your next lawsuit related to employment-based immigration cases. My employment-based category is EB3. That's Follow My Dream, 1854.
That depends.
And I think
Where are you located?
Yeah, I think Curtis.
Are you doing consular processing? Is your petition approved, or is it a visa now? I don't know. There's not enough information here for me to talk. I don't know if you're doing a USCIS process or an embassy process. I don't know what your nationality is. I need more information.
Also, if he is talking about maybe I-140 lawsuit, so then we already answered before.
Could be talking about the 485. I don't know. Just don't have enough information.
We'll wait if we get an update on that. We can do the next question until then.
I want to answer this next question so bad.
This one. Does the government see the plaintiff names? I'm asking in fear of retaliation.
Okay. Let's talk about this. Yes, the government sees the plaintiff names. Anybody that wants to go to the courthouse sees the plaintiff names. Because we have to enter the first 50 plaintiff names on the PACER website, some of your names will get seen by people on the internet. The names, yes. Fear of retaliation, this does not make sense. I understand. Okay, here's why I say this. I understand that Jim Hacking did a motion for pseudonyms in Massachusetts, and it was granted because everybody fears retaliation from the government, ICE, and the vans picking people up and stuff like that. How are you going to expect the government to give you a benefit after the judge orders relief if the government does not know who you are? If you want the government to give you the benefit to make the lawsuit go away, how are they going to do that if they don't know who you are? Courts do not work anonymously. Like, it's not one of these things where you can say, you can't file a case without saying who you are. It just doesn't work. I'm sorry. But also, retaliation is not real. Doesn't happen.
Thank you. When does one expect to hear from the firm after submitting interest to join the I-485 lawsuit?
Whoa, you signed up on the interest list, so you should have got notified that we are onboarding a 485 group lawsuit now. Forget about the interest list. You can onboard to that lawsuit right now, and I recommend you do that. You go to, I'm going to show you how to do that. This is the webpage, but like if you just land on a Ready Go Law webpage, go to group lawsuits 485. We got some explainer videos, and register as a new client. If you've already participated in a 765 group lawsuit, then you register as an existing client. But those are the two options. And if you register to a new client, it takes you to the next onboarding page where we get more information from you and we move forward.
It says did that earlier today. Okay, so if you completed onboarding, you completed the form and you paid the fee, then you can typically expect to hear within, I want to say 72 hours if the team needs anything else from you. But if you submitted everything that was asked for, then your onboarding processing can take place without anyone reaching out, and you will hear back once the executed retainer is being sent and once a paralegal has prepared your declaration for review.
Already did.
That's what I just referred to.
Got it.
That's why I was explaining the process after registration.
Right.
What was your impression of the affidavit provided from USCIS yesterday regarding updated guidance on the adjudication pause? We spoke earlier. You want to repeat or? Yeah,
it's asked slightly differently, and then you all can add if you want to, so or not. My impression is that they're just doing layers of ways to keep people from getting immigration benefits. It's not good, and it will cause delays, and I don't know, it's kind of what you expected. They're going to use bureaucracy to make it harder for people to immigrate to the U.S.
Thank you. Then here, you guys had planned on doing revolving lawsuits as people become eligible. People may not be ready now, but could be ready in a couple of months, according to whatever benefits they are seeking. I think that goes into what you explained earlier, right? That
yeah, we changed our plan. We might offer a different tool, a different vehicle in a couple months. But as you admit kind of in your question here, you're not ready now. So it doesn't matter what we're doing now. What matters is what we're doing when you are ready. So when you are ready, come check us out. See if we're offering something. If we're not, go check out our competitors. See if they're offering something.
All right. That brings us to the end of the questions.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful. I wonder if there's anybody I didn't make mad.
One more. Is there a group lawsuit to join for people who filed an I-129?
Not currently. No. Not currently. There is an interest list, and maybe in April we'll do something. I don't know. We're going to reassess after we wrap up the lawsuits we're filing now. We have to have human labor, what's that called? Human resources. We have a lot of litigation and it's taking our team's energy and focus. And before we take on new clients, we have to be able to take care of our existing clients. So,
yeah.
Okay.
What happens if the government ignores the PI from the court?
Ignores the PI from what court? Ignores what PI?
And if a PI order is out and the government doesn't act on it. It's
Okay.
a very, very important question for many, many people that are currently in the USCIS pulse. I see it every day.
That's not what happens though, okay? You're asking a question that based upon something that doesn't happen. The way to ask that question is, does this happen? And I would say no. Here's what does happen. Often a judge will issue an order, a preliminary injunction order, and tell the government to do something and be a little bit vague, and the government will try to take advantage of that vagueness to drag things out. Because this has happened over and over and over, judges are so skeptical of the government's ability to work quickly that they usually are very specific in their orders about wanting status reports and wanting the government to demonstrate that it's implementing an order. My favorite example of it ever being done was what Judge Mehta did in the Gomez order, where he gave a universal injunction for all DV 2020s, but he said, well, the metric I'm going to use to decide whether or not you're going to do this right is prioritize all the plaintiffs and let's see what happens with them. That was wonderful. I'll tell you what happened with them. Most of them are applying for citizenship now because they've been in the US for 5 years.
Thank you. I only filed last month. My biometrics are scheduled for next week, and I signed up for your lawsuit today. That's what I believe it means. Is there any risk that the government will argue that I'm within the processing times? There's
100% risk that the government will argue that. Whether or not that will mean anything depends upon the judge, okay? It's possible that the judge will just want to make things simple and give the same relief to all plaintiffs. Or the judge could bifurcate relief. Bifurcate means split in two and say, and I think this is actually sort of fair, I'm not scared of it, to say anybody that's filed their 485 a year ago needs to have an answer within 30 days. But like if they filed within the last year, well then 60 days or something like that. Make it a little progressive, you know, pressure the government for where they've really dropped the ball. And for the places, I understand the government's argument that you should not be able to slip into a lawsuit the day after you file your 485 and get an approval within 38 days. That's not the purpose of the lawsuit. Does that?
Well, but maybe then they shouldn't make unlawful policies that basically injure you from the moment you file, right? If you file for a benefit and you know no matter what I do, the benefit cannot get adjudicated.
I agree. It's just what they argue then is, yeah, but like just because we make unlawful policies, your client shouldn't get an advantage because they can afford to hire a lawyer. So it gets really messy. And so is there a chance that this could be a factor in the relief? Yes, there is a chance, of course. Until we get an order, we don't know what the order is going to say. But the main thing is we get the judge to order the hold not applying to you. That's the main thing. Okay.
And then even if the judge, yeah, we do two more questions and then we finish. But even if the judge would go with, yeah, you shouldn't be allowed to skip the line, there's still the benefit that the hold, the judge would still say the hold is unlawful, right? If that's what the judge would order. If they split the plaintiffs and don't say, okay, you just filed yesterday, It's not right to adjudicate within 30 days, but when your case is ripe for adjudication, the hold cannot apply for you, which still is a win.
Yeah, I think any judge is looking at this hold is going to find it unlawful.
Yeah. All right, 75 country pause. Hi, will you be onboarding another group for the 75 country immigrant visa pause? I really would like to join and work with your team.
I appreciate that. I bet you want to work more with Rabia than me, but that's okay. Let me see here. I'm just being funny. Okay, I think I'm funny.
And that's what counts, Curtis.
Yeah, that's what counts. In April, we're going to reassess. We have a lot of pending legal work that we have to do right now. The diversity visa lawsuit that we just onboarded is a lot of work. When you have a lawsuit with over 700 families as plaintiffs, you have to take things seriously. There's a lot of work to do. The civil cover sheet is going to take somebody several days. It's just a lot. I don't know how many declarations we have, over 100, I'm sure. Thank you.
In other words, you want our team, and that I think everyone who's listening, you all want our team to calculate reasonable and have the capacity to give you the service that you expect from us, right? And the standard that we hold ourselves to. And if that means, okay, we need to slow down for a couple of weeks until we have done everything that is pending right now, then I think that's in everyone's interest.
Well said. Well said. It's not just demand. We have to be able to deliver. Okay.
Yeah. I'm sorry I just joined, and you may have already touched on this, but when is the deadline to join the I-485 lawsuit? I'm interested in joining.
I recommend joining today because we've already... We want to knock out filing these. So I don't know when we're going to end that onboarding. It'll probably be Friday, but I don't want you to wait until the last day, because when we unplug it, you're not going to be able to onboard. So if you're interested, if you got questions, ask them now, reach out to us and make the decision, because we want to put these behind us. We want to get them filed and I want to get in court and get relief for the people that have already hired us.
My I-20 ended, and now I'm on EAD status, waiting on my I-485 decision. Does it make sense to join the I-485 lawsuit? Because if I get denied for some reason, I don't have the I-20 status to fall back on.
Chuck, is that true?
Oh wait,
no, I don't think so. So firstly, of course we recommend you to join, but if you got denied somehow, your underlying status is still valid, but that doesn't guarantee forever. There's a deadline for your I-20, and that's it depends on whether you're on regular OPT or STEM OPT extension, or when your program ends, and also the DHS is making a new rule that they want to put an end to the duration of status to the F1 student, to make it a clean cut, like 4 years.
I'm reading this, that the F1 status is already gone, that it's only EAD status, and that could be an EAD based on the pending I-485, right?
I think that probably means OPT, right? So OPT or STEM OPT extension. So yeah, so that's probably...
You need a consult.
Yeah.
You need a consult. You need to understand when you say my I-20 ended, exactly.
Yeah, that could also mean...
Go to our website and schedule a consult. Chuck is an expert on the EB and OPT and whatnot situations, but there needs to be more detail. how much do you charge an individual for the I-485 group lawsuit?
$3,000, $1,000 upfront, and $2,000 in 2 months.
Thank you. Any news regarding the 2027 DV lottery?
No, but as I've said before, our DV 2026 lawsuit is going to have a magic cause of action. That is one cause of action, one sentence in the prayer that says it's unlawful to suspend the DV 2027 program. It's ultra-vires, I think it's the Latin. They don't have the authority to do that. And then in the prayer, we're going to say, you need to offer an entry, set that 1 month thing. See, they have to do that 1 month entry period statutorily by the end of this fiscal year. I have a feeling it's not going to be till August or September. But
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm from the Middle East and banned and paused. What are my options? Is there a lawsuit for both, or am I better off suing alone instead of joining several mass lawsuits?
If you face the travel ban and you're not eligible for an exception, I think you should explore other countries for the next 3 years, because the odds of overcoming Proclamation 10949 or 10998 without an exception are just nominal, just very, very, very small.
Thank you.
And I realize that's painful for a lot of people.
And Sajat, clarified. So Chuck, it's just the EAD is based on the pending I-485.
Oh,
So,
then definitely get off the lawsuit.
That's
You've got two options: participate in the lawsuit, or I guess don't participate and then hope things work out. I would participate in the lawsuit.
okay. That's all the question, and we are just over the top of the hour.
Okay. So, do you all know how to say goodbye in languages other than English?
I do.
Okay.
Teach me a couple.
You can say
That's Chinese.
Is that how you say it in German?
in German. You say Auf Wiedersehen.
Auf Wiedersehen. Okay.
In Farsi and Dari, you say Khodafis.
In Dari?
Dari and Farsi.
Oh, I didn't know it's also in Dari. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Chuck, you know any?
再见. That's goodbye in Chinese. 再见.
再见?
再见. 再见.
I'll practice that. Okay. See you all next week. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you all.
Bye.
Bye.